Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Procrastinated Podcast here in a unique location. Today, we are at my brother's apartment complex in Noblesville, Indiana, for episode 92 of the Procrastinated Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew B. Stein. Thank you so much for joining me. This week, we're going to touch a little bit more on Liverpool, also sort of where I'm at, but mainly Liverpool and sports because not much has changed in my personal life. Without further ado, let's get into it. Screw the intro. So, this last weekend was yesterday was a very emotional day for any English soccer fan, to be honest with you. Liverpool, Man City. We've been talking about this for the past couple weeks, on and off. Liverpool have been chasing the elusive quadruple, winning all four possible major trophies in a season. The League Cup, which is of all English teams in the country. The FA Cup, which is of, again, all English teams in the country. It's the most historic domestic cup, though, so it's a little more famous than the League Cup. The Premier League, which is the typical league, much like any league, like the Major League Baseball, National Football League, any league, just the regular season championship. And then the Champions League, which is the best of the best in Europe. The champions. The best of the best teams in all of Europe. So far this season, they have won said League Cup and FA Cup. This weekend, yesterday, the Premier League was decided. They, going into the day, all they could do was win their game to put them in the best possible position to win the league. If they won their game and Manchester City either drew or lost, Liverpool won the league. Started off slow. Liverpool actually went down earlier in the game, but eventually battled back to tie it up 1-1. And in the more important game, Manchester City, they were playing Aston Villa. Now, this is a very unique situation. It's the last day of the season. The game started at the exact same time. Manchester City were currently in first and could go on to win the league if they won the game. Liverpool, had they won the game and City lost, could also go on to win the league. Potentially stopping Man City from winning the league, or the only thing potentially stopping Man City from winning the league, was their opponent, Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa is a team in the Premier League, obviously, a smaller team, but a team that has some real passion. On their team, their coach is Steven Gerrard. Now, Steven Gerrard is not one of the best Liverpool players of all time, or one of the most known Liverpool players of all time. He is the best Liverpool player of all time and the most well-known Liverpool player of all time, the greatest Liverpool player ever. And he is the current manager of Aston Villa, the team who played Manchester City on their last day of the season. Now, Steven Gerrard was never able to win a Premier League trophy with Liverpool and lift it for them, which would have been perhaps the greatest thing he possibly could have done because Liverpool have been chasing the league title for so long. But he was never able to do so. But he has now found himself in a very unique position where he can win the league for Liverpool, not unfortunately as a player, but as a manager. And not only as a manager, but as a manager for a different club. A different team that is not his Liverpool Reds. All he had to do, which granted is a tall ask because Manchester City are a world-class team, all he had to do was beat or draw with them on the day. And a draw is not that much to ask for. You can get a draw if you play a hard-fought game for 90 minutes. You can do that. And it looked like they were going to run away with the game at one point, actually. In the first half, they went up 1-0 and stunned really the whole country because Man City are somewhat inevitable. And then the games went on, got to the second half. Lo and behold, they scored another goal. Who scored that goal, you may ask? Philip Coutinho. A Brazilian attacking player who's known for being very creative and a very technical dribbler, can navigate in tight spaces very well. Also, recently played for Liverpool FC and was their best player for a stretch of years from, say, about 2014 till about 2017. Their best player for sure. So after leaving Liverpool in hopes of winning more trophies, Coutinho failed to win more trophies. Then he ultimately was bought by his former teammate, Steven Gerrard, the now manager of Aston Villa, and plays for the greatest Liverpool of all time and had a chance to, I'm talking in circles here. What I'm trying to get at is one of the more recent, really good, famous Liverpool players, Philip Coutinho, was coached by Liverpool's most famous player and best player of all time, Steven Gerrard, and they both had a chance to win Liverpool a Premier League title. Aston Villa won 1-0, and then early in the second half, Philip Coutinho, of all people, scored the second goal to project them 2-0 up versus Manchester City, and thus essentially putting the Premier League title in Liverpool's hands. Unfortunately, about halfway through the second half, the levee broke. Manchester City are a team that dominate the game. They control possession. They control the ball. They control the tempo of play. They control about everything within the game. And there are times where in games they won't be able to score a goal or break the back of the net yet. But it always seems like at some point, really at any moment in any game, they can get a goal just because of their creativity, the way the players can move the ball, and the different dynamic ways they can play soccer. So, about halfway through the second half, as I mentioned, the levee broke. Manchester City, the dominant force they are, despite being down 2-0, know they have to win the Premier League. They rallied back and scored an incredible 3 goals in 5 minutes and give or take 32 seconds. 30, 35, 5.5 minutes to score 3 goals to go from being 2 goals away from drawing or winning the Premier League to now 3 goals 5 minutes later, securely winning the Premier League. Truly broke the back of Aston Villa. They did their best. Ultimately was not enough on the day as Liverpool then advanced. Well, not advanced. Liverpool won their game, did everything they could to win said title, and still fell short just because of Man City's dominance, their ability to break teams and do what they can and win games inevitably. Liverpool finished on 91 points this season. That makes them the second team in the history of the Premier League to finish on 90-plus points and not win the title. The only other team to ever do so was the 2018-19 Liverpool FC team, who fell short, 1 point short, once again, to Manchester City. Now, if Liverpool had gone on to win the Premier League, they would be on pace to, or have a chance to win a quadruple. Now, a quadruple may be hard to explain, or hard for you to understand, or at least understand the magnitude of if you're not a soccer fan. As I pointed out, it's the League Cup, the FA Cup, the 2 English titles, and then the Premier League title, which is the winner of the best league in England. And then there's the Champions League, which is the winner of all of Europe. This is something, winning all 4 tournaments is something that has never, ever been done before. And I've been trying to think over the past weeks, as I've explained to my friends, my family members, about like what could have possibly been done by Liverpool and how it's never been done before. And I've been struggling to describe, or at least put it in a context, exactly how it is or how it can make sense of it for a person that's not a fan of soccer. So, this is the best I came up with so far. We are currently in the midst of the NBA playoffs as well, and the NHL playoffs, but the NBA playoffs as well. In the NBA, there are 2 conferences, the East and the West Conference. Well, and in the NBA, the only thing you really ever play for is the NBA Finals, is to win the one trophy you can win in a season, or the one team trophy you can win, and that is the NBA Finals. Winning the quadruple is basically as if an NBA team, let's say the Warriors, who are in the Western Conference, meaning they only can win the Western Conference Finals, because they're only in the Western Conference. It would be as if they were to go on not only to win the Western Conference, and not only to win then the NBA championship, but if they were to win both the Eastern and Western Conference, despite only being in one of those conferences. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, it's impossible. Teams have won trebles before, which is 3 trophies, and the 3 biggest trophies would be the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Champions League. A team has done that before in England. It's something that's been done before. But no team has ever won the quadruple. It is something that has never been done in the history of English soccer. And the history of English soccer is a long one. It's been going on for a while. I feel like I was a poor analogy to describe the magnitude of a quadruple. But basically understand, while it's something that's not actually impossible, it's pretty much impossible. Liverpool are as close to perfect as they possibly could have been, losing only 3 games all season, only 2 games in the Premier League, and 2 out of 38 games they lost, and yet they still fell short, scoring 91 points on the season, and got 2nd place in the Premier League. And now the quadruple is no longer possible. Although, there is another trophy to be won yet. Coming up in 5-6 days, I believe, Liverpool play in Paris for the Champions League final versus Real Madrid, the team that has won the Champions League more times than any other team in history. Now, this is no easy task, of course, because Manchester or Real Madrid are a history team, as I mentioned. But Liverpool are on for revenge mode. After falling painfully short to a Premier League title, the second in Liverpool's history, they now have a chance to go on and win a European title, which some may argue is bigger, some may not. To Liverpool, I would say the Premier League title is bigger, but the Champions League is massive regardless. Basically, the stage is set for a revenge scene. The game 4 years ago against Real Madrid had its troubles. The Liverpool goalkeeper even allegedly suffered a concussion during the game, and they were just outclassed by Real Madrid in the final. They were just, I don't believe, at the time, ready for that moment. But since then, they have won a Champions League, and won a Premier League, and now won an FA Cup and a League Cup. They have won the quadruple, just spread over a couple seasons. And this weekend, they have a chance to once more lift good old big ears, the Champions League trophy, in front of the world, and despite falling 1 point short of the Premier League title, still go on to win a treble, 2 domestic trophies and the European Cup. Something that is remarkable in its own right and shall be respected for a very long time, but just not quite the same as a quad. Something that is, had they done it, would put them undoubtedly on no argument can possibly be made that they would be the greatest English soccer team to ever exist. Zero argument could be made against that because no team has ever even competed for a quadruple this long. Up till the absolute last day of the season, they competed for the quadruple. But 2, no team has even gotten close to competing for that long ever. And even basically, Liverpool had a chance to do something that's never been done before and got dangerously close and actually had the threat of them winning this feat of all 4 trophies was so immense that they had rival fans, Everton, Manchester United, Chelsea fans, teams that all hate Manchester City, cheering for Manchester City just because they were afraid of this Liverpool side being crowned the undeniable greatest English soccer team of all time. It's incredible. Be ready. On the lookout for it this weekend. The Champions League final in Paris between Liverpool FC and Real Madrid. The final game of the season. Can Liverpool go on and win the 3 trophies? Will they not? I'm not really sure, but I have faith. After a tough loss like this season of winning your final game but still not winning the title, one, that hurt so bad. There's a reason I'm filming this the day after because I was like kind of down and out of it yesterday. It just like hurt my feelings. Ugh. But after that painful loss, you gotta think, maybe they have tired legs from the whole season, but 1 game left. Are you willing to leave it all out there on the field and walk away with a massive trophy that cements you as a winner in the history of England and in Europe? We will see. I think they have a good chance. They're a good team. Real Madrid are a very good team as well, though. We will see. I have gone on about this too long. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Procrastinator Podcast. It was really only about Liverpool. But like I said, my personal life isn't that interesting at the moment. I'm just kind of in this post-grad phase, just kind of chilling, doing some work. I have realized, though, I should take more advantage of my connections and make a better effort to expand my network. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the Procrastinator Podcast. I have been your host, Matthew Stein. You have been fantastic, as always. And as always, I will see you next week and next week's episode of the Procrastinator Podcast. See you then. Stay safe. I should have just ended it here, but yeah. See you next week. Peace out.